let's take a look at how super import works within the Vextend extension. Now, this will need API access, and you can find that information on how to enable this in the help section. Let's say we're going to go and order stock. We're going to start just like we would any other stock controller purchase order. I'm going to select my vendor, and it is important that we have the correct vendor for what the product is going to be. And we can add other information such as invoice numbers, our delivery dates, and such. Now down on the bottom of the page there is an import via CSV, but it's somewhat limited in that it's only going to handle products that are already in our system. Now if you have a CSV file that includes products that both don't exist and do exist, you run into a conundrum that there's no easy way to be able to bring these two things and merge them together. It works fine if you need to import all your items and then create an order, or vice versa if you don't have any items and you're going to create an order. But it doesn't really work for that mix. So we're just going to hit the save on this without any items added, and we'll see our order does not have any items. Now we can go to import products, and you'll see now, because we have the API enabled, there's an extra button that says import with Vextend. We're going to click that, and if you need a template file, you can click here to get what that template should look like, but I've got an order already created. I'm going to open that up, and we'll see that there was an error in the file, that one of the columns was misnamed, so we're just going to say that that column was our ordered quantity, and all our information's in. So basically in our CSV file we had how many items were coming in, what the supplier code was, what their supplier name was, and what the supply price is going to be. This is again a very common CSV file you might get from a vendor. We'll hit OK or continue. And now we're going to see a status of all these items. So anything that's orange here and showing update, this means these are already items in Vend or in Lightspeed for us. And the yellow ones mean that they're brand new items. We'll also see that there's little red triangles over some of these items. And if we expand out this column a little bit, we can see that our name has changed a little bit. And it looks like basically in our original import or original time we brought this item in, it had a slightly different formatting of it. Now we can do a couple things. We could either just leave that as is and use the new item, or we could select, say, this one, and we are going to hit clear difference. It's going to ask if we want to clear that difference. We hit yes, and now it's going to keep the same formatting. Now I can do this for a whole bunch of lines at once. So I'm going to go and click down and drag through this whole column here. We're going to clear all those differences because we liked the way it was formatted before. And we'll go ahead and click yes. And we'll now see that none of those items need updated anymore because they have been, there's nothing different. Now you will notice that there is a difference over here on the supply price. And in Vend, it will track supply prices order to order. So that's not really a big deal that that is different. However, we do have the option of physically forcing what's going to show up as the supply price within an item. Because when you do a normal purchase order, even if supply prices are changing, it doesn't happen directly. So if we want to change that, we can come into pricing here, and we can do that. We're going to force it to actually update the item, and now we'll see that all these items are requiring an update again. And we could do some calculating for what we want our retail cost to be. Maybe we want to make sure we have 110% markup on it. Maybe we want to factor freight into supply costs on it too. So let's say this order had $100 freight cost total. We're going to factor that in. And we also want to make sure that we don't come out with weird numbers. Because if we did apply retail pricing right now, and that one actually came out good. Let's say it was 112% markup. You might sometimes get some odd numbers. Maybe so we could put in 0.49 or comma 0.99. We can round up to those nearest pricings. And if we apply retail pricing now, we see now that it's just going up to 12.49 for our total on the retail pricing. So it's giving us options. But we will see here that we're getting some different suggestions on new pricing. So maybe we decided we didn't want to do that. We could go back and we're going to clear those differences, and we're going to keep it all as $8.99. Now, let's say here in this entire column, we did have some new items, and we want to make sure that's consistent. If we click the little square, we can drag down, and let's make sure that we have 2 rows in a row that have that pricing. Otherwise, it's going to try to auto increment. Now we'll select that, drag it down, and we'll see that every row has the same price. Likewise, we know it's the same product type, the same brand, and the same ID tags. And we're going to just drag those up. And we'll drag those down. And likewise, if we did want to change what our tags were, using all our pre-made tags in our system, we can see those in this drop-down menu here. also. But we don't need to change those, so we're going to leave those the same. And now we have what looks like a pretty good order. We are updating what the supply price is going to be because we decided to do force update, and just to demonstrate how there could be an update going through. So we're going to process the updated items. It's going to ask if we want to update 16 items. We'll hit yes. We'll give it a second to go through the API and do that. And now we'll see all those items are current. They're ready to be added to the order, but we do have these new items. So we're going to hit upload new items. It's going to give us a little warning message that it's actually going to take 2 steps to do this just because Ven's API has a glitch in it. We will add them. And now we do see that these number items are ready for a final update, which just means that it's going to allow it to track inventory. Now you will notice in our store, we actually put an X or a prefix in front of all our SKUs just so it doesn't accidentally ring up with conflicting numbers off of supplier item numbers. So we kind of add a prefix. So I clicked on the SKU prefix. I'm applying that prefix, and we'll want to make sure that we're just doing that to every column. Again, if the ones that already have it, it's not going to apply. So we'll now see that there's 3 items that they're going to actually get their SKU updated. We'll process those items as being updated. And there we go. Now this particular order didn't have barcodes or barcode types with it, but if we did have barcodes coming in, we could assign that information also. So now we've taken all these items that were in this brand new purchase order, we've added new items that needed to be added, we've updated items, we had ways to see, hey, maybe supply pricing's changed, we need to do some pricing updates to the system. We have all that, now we're ready to add it into a purchase order. This is a good clean CSV, just like you would actually be forced to have if you were to use Lightspeed's default CSV importer for a purchase order. So we're just going to hit add to purchase order. We're not going to have to touch another CSV. The extension is going to automatically put these in the order, and it's going to say we are added, and we can now close it. Now, anytime I could hit click save for later, and that's going to just store the information from this on our servers, on the Vextend servers, just in case we need to come back. We could get that, or if we were partway through and needed to save the status before we were ready to upload, we could do that also. So we're going to go ahead and close this window, and now if we come back to our purchase order, we'll see that all those items we just created are now in the order, and this order is ready to be received. I'm going to go ahead and click on the receive here, just because I want to show you something else really neat that happens with this. Now in the extension, we've added a couple other features to this receiving. If you're checking through a lot of items, you may not want to sit and type each number, but you do want to mark them off as you go. So let's say we unpack this item from the vendor, we find it, we can hit that little punch arrow there, and we're going to punch the numbers right over, and maybe we want to print our labels right away. We'll have our label printing, and it'll come up with our nice formatted labels. And again, just like other printing through Vextend, you can format all that printing, and we'd be able to go ahead and hit print and send that to our printer if we had a formatted label size. And even better, if we know we want to save even one step, everything's formatted, we can enable this quick print. So on the next item I do, when I hit print, it actually goes all the way through, and our Chrome window pops up with even one less click for us. So it's just making efficiency and making this process of receiving inventory so much smoother. I hope you enjoy all these features of Vextend and how it can make receiving purchase orders so much smoother and easier for you.